Welcome to the More Than Fitness podcast.
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Minisode number 136 on the More Than Fitness podcast. Today's Minisode is a special one, and it's going to be sticking to your goals when shit gets hard. Now, I chose this topic because so this will be my last Minisode that I'll be doing in New York City. So in this room, for those of you who can see on the video podcast, I am actually leaving New York City. So me and my girlfriend are splitting up, and I will be moving back home to Kentucky by the end of the week. And so I won't be doing the podcast in this room anymore. Don't worry, the podcast will be continuing, and I'm not gonna, spill out all my personal details or anything like that. Me and my girlfriend are still friends. It was an amicable split, but I was thinking, well, what better Minisode to end things on in this room than kind of talk about what's been helping me get through this period, because I think that you guys listening have probably gone through similar things, maybe not necessarily a breakup, but just, shit happens in life, and there you can't always just put everything on hold. You might not have that luxury. You might still have to do certain things to make sure that life keeps chugging along, even whenever one part of it is kind of falling apart, right? And I think this minisode is actually the first example that first piece of advice that I want to give to you guys, and that is you have to be a professional, right? So at least for me, whenever it comes to doing these minisodes, putting out a podcast, replying back to client emails, right? I have a decent amount of clients that pay me for coaching on a monthly basis, and of course, if I sent out messages to all of them and was just like, hey, me and my girlfriend of over 4 years are breaking up, I'm going through a lot. I'll get back to you when I can. It's like, of course, every single one of them would be understanding, but also it's like, if I'm doing consulting, if I'm doing a service, it's just like they are still expecting that service from me because they paid for it. And the point here is not necessarily my specific situation, but it's just like one way to think about it whenever you are trying to stick to your goals, whenever things get hard, is that you just simply, sometimes you have to separate emotion and then what shit needs to get done, and what responsibilities you have, and the debts that you owe other people, right? And the things that will make sure that the rest of your life doesn't, fall apart while this one part is not going as well, right? So you have to, this is where authenticity can get people in trouble, or at least I think authenticity isn't helpful, is whenever it's like, you guys could see me as being authentic if I'm like, hey, I'm not going to do any minisodes for a while. I'm going to recover from this, from the breakup, and telling my clients that, being authentic and just kind of spilling my details out there to everybody. But it's like, that's not what you guys come here for, right? Like, I think that you guys like me as a person and respect that and everything. But at the end of the day, it's like, I am here to offer you guys fitness advice or life advice around fitness and related to fitness. And you have to uphold being a professional, right? You have to carry on even whenever shit gets hard. And I think that while I have the option not to, like, I don't have to make any minisodes, and I'm not saying that I'll be perfect from this point on, but I felt compelled to make at least this last one in the apartment because it's a testament to what I believe in. And I think it's whenever you demand a certain standard of yourself, you can't waver just because shit gets hard. If it's something that's important to you, then you need to follow through with it. Not because you owe it to anybody else, but because you owe it to yourself. And I think that of course, this is context specific, but in my situation, it's nothing too crazy. We're still friends. Shit happens. It is what it is. But I still, at the end of the day, I've got a job to do, and I'm going to follow through on that job. Next, so sticking to your goals when shit gets hard. The next thing that I would recommend is that you also, everything that I just said, I also feel better whenever I do those things. Because if I'm already feeling shitty about a breakup, it's like I'm going to feel even worse if I also let my clients down, or I lose some clients, or I'm not putting out content and I'm not doing my job, right? Like I'm not following through on the promises to myself. And so not only in that aspect, but also you feel better whenever, and so take it towards fitness and nutrition related. It's like if I just sat in my room all day and moped and cried and didn't do any work and, ordered donuts and pizza and drank alcohol, and started, smoking weed and just feeling sorry for myself and victim blaming myself, it's like, that's only going to make things worse. Right? You have, whenever really bad shit happens, you kind of have two options, right? It's either you can do something about it. And then so if you can do something about it, do something about it. If you can't do anything about it, well then accept that you can't do anything about it. And then you just move on, right? And of course I know that's easier said than done, and I'm not trying to whatever. I don't have to justify everything. You guys understand what I'm saying. It's either you do something about it because you can, or if you can't, then it is what it is. And you do your best to carry on in spite of the suffering, right? That's courage, right? That's strength. That's being strong. It's just like anybody can do a lot of things and be productive and, follow through on the promises they made to themselves whenever shit's easy. But when shit's hard, it's like, that's where the real growth happens, right? So that's something to remember. So just in general, I've probably been eating better for the most part, better than I have in a while. And I've been making sure I'm getting in my exercise, right? I'm lifting weights. I'm doing some running every day. Like I'm trying to do something. And I'm also trying to eat well, because I know that like, if I'm trying to feel better, it makes sense to eat foods that make me feel better. It makes sense to take care of myself so that I can feel better. It's like, if I'm already going to be fucked up mentally, it's like, at least I can control, right? Remember, like I can do something about that. It's like, so I'm going to take advantage of eating the best that I can and also exercising. And that's going to help me not fall through in other areas, right? And so you just feel better by doing the other things as opposed to kind of piling on and just kind of taking that victim route. And I'm not saying that you can't grieve or that you can't take time for yourself or anything like that, but just really consider, it's just like, is this helpful whenever you decide to sit there and, continuously fall through on certain things, right? I think that's important. And lastly, by doing all of these things that I just mentioned, it's also a good distraction, because, if you just sit there and you think about the stuff all day, then about, everything that's wrong and things that could get worse, or maybe things that you'll never have back or something like that, it's not productive, and it's not going to make your situation any worse. And this is where, again, feel your emotions, right? I'm not saying to suppress emotions or anything like that. Like, you've got to go through that hard shit. You've got to feel that shit. But whenever you do it, maybe designate a time to really sit down and like, okay, I'm going to go sit in bed and I'm really just going to think about this and cry and I'm going to feel all of it. But if you just do that all day, every day, and then also fall through on your other obligations, it's like, well, now you're just kind of kicking yourself when you're already down. And I think that these distractions can be helpful. Sticking to your goals when shit gets hard. It's obviously, it makes everything more difficult, but it also makes it that much more rewarding whenever you actually do follow through with it. And also, again, you'll just feel better overall about the situation, about who you are as a person. And I think that will build confidence and strength and courage and bravery, and it'll it'll allow you to keep building momentum and not let this rut that you're in be dug any deeper than it needs to be, right? Yeah, so I think that's it. Somewhat short one today, but that's what I got. I think that I wanted to make this topic the last one because one, it helps me get out my thoughts and feelings, and two, I think that it's most helpful for you guys because I'm going through it, and so maybe the advice some of you guys can take as well whenever you're going through something similar. All right, and that is it from New York City for now. You never know what's going to happen in the future. You guys never know. But for now, this is my last episode of New York City. I'm going back home to Kentucky. You'll see my minisodes there. And then, I'll be bouncing around to different places, and I guess I'll keep you in the loop, right? So hope you continue to follow along, and I appreciate your support up to this point. All right, that's it for Minisode number 136. Thank you guys, as always, for listening and for watching. See ya.